Hello, and welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. I'm Christine Santiago, and my beautiful co-host, Mac, is not going to be joining us right away. So it's just us for a little bit, and my crazy dog making all that ruckus over there. He says you're welcome. Happy Friday, guys. I love that this is a humanist channel. That's one of the things that made me really want to dive in and do this many years ago now. Sometimes, though, people are not very humanist, and I still have to cover those topics. This one is shitty. I don't know any other word for it. It's the opposite of humanism, that's for sure. There has been lists put together. These lists that have been put together are pretty damning. And I think I want to tell you real quick, the reason why this was important for me to cover tonight is that I am married to the same woman I've been with for over 15 years. We have friends who are trans. We have friends who are gay. We have friends who are straight. I just can't understand not fighting for the least among us. And as we can all tell, the group that is the easiest for far right or fascist people to go after are the transgender community, which is a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, which I am a member of. I would like to say all humanists are a part of. There's just one human race and we're all a part of it. Now, for seems like years and decades, but a lot of rhetoric has been coming out of not just far right, center right, actual elected representatives who are on the right. And this rhetoric is dangerous, and it puts human beings in danger, as we've seen with the Club Q. I know they like to say their words did not cause it, and you're right, words do not cause that. However, the rhetoric put out, belittling, dehumanizing, groomers, calling people groomers, calling drag queen story hour, which sounds like a freaking blast. I love reading books to kids, and if I could dress up in a costume and do it, it would be even more fun. It's wholesome. I feel like, and I felt like this for a while, that it's projection. Now, I understand that's my opinion. That's how I feel. But as time has gone by, it's starting to play out as that person was projecting. Oh, wow, that's the person who said those things. They actually were a groomer. They were projecting. So I feel like it is not just my duty. I'm not a superhero, but with this platform for humanism, I think that if we don't make a stand and declare that this is fucking unacceptable, then what's the point of even having a platform where we can share ideas? You want to bite me? That's not nice. Sorry, Bean is jealous that I'm talking to a camera and not him. As I'm saying, I feel like it's my responsibility to talk about this. And if I were to tell you what this was about a few days ago without giving you any receipts or links, it would sound like the most hyperbolic tribalism bullshit you've ever heard, unless you pay attention and you are informed. Now, I'm going to go through a couple different, sorry guys, he wants to be a part of it, a couple different sources. I find that they all have much to show and to give, and the people that put this together, I thank you. Thank you so much. Now, there is a hashtag going around, hashtag right-wing sexual predators. There's a reason that's going around. We're going to start with right-wing sexual predators, abusers, and enablers. Okay. This document in particular is all conservatives, Republicans, GOP. This document includes people with political power or access to it, party activists, candidates, and elected officials. There are religious leaders who involve themselves in politics through anti-abortion and anti-gay activism. Also includes white supremacists, white nationalists, and other right-wing extremists as they embraced Trump and his administration and the insurrection. And the Republicans in turn embraced them as political prisoners and patriots. Whatever the bright line, whatever bright line existed in the past, it has been erased by this MAGA takeover of the Republican Party. And that's not what I'm here to talk about. That just is a fact going into this. One of the big talking points of people who ran on a MAGA ticket or were supported by Trump were going on and on about the QAnon conspiracies, how there are child sex rings, how these groomers are doing horrible things to your kids. We have to ban the books and burn the books. So that's why that is mentioned. Okay. You guys, there's just so many. Donald Trump is accused of sexual assault by multiple women. He is accused of raping a 13-year-old girl and bragged of walking in on underage girls at pageants. I will be posting this so everyone can see the sources as well. Judge Roy Moore, also conservative, is accused of sexual assault and dating underage women. There are multiples. I'm just going to, try to not mention all of it, obviously. Jim Jordan, he is seeking to fill Steny Hoyer's shoes, even though he is accused of ignoring sexual assault of many young men who came to him to let him know that they were uncomfortable and this was happening. While he was a coach, he dismissed it as locker room talk. Ohio State, that's your guy right there. Cobb County COP Chairman Joseph Russell Dendy, child molesting. And that Cobb County story is really bad. Now, these are all conservatives. So-called pro-life, anti-gay activist Howard Scott Heldreth was convicted of raping a child. And again, that source is going to be underneath that. GOP Ohio County Commissioner David Schwartz, convicted of raping 2 girls, released after only 5 years. He's back in prison after contacting one of those victims. Republican Judge Mark Pazahonik, sorry, I'm probably butchering that name, pleaded no contest to fondling a 10-year-old girl. Republican anti-abortion activist Nicholas Morency pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography on his computer and offering a bounty to anyone who murders an abortion doctor. Republican Speaker of the House in Puerto Rico, Edison Milsa Alderando, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for raping his daughter between ages 9 and 17. That's a long time to be abused. Republican Mayor Philip Giordano is serving a 37-year sentence in federal prison for sexually abusing 8 and 10-year-old girls. Republican campaign consultant Tom Shortridge was sentenced to 3 years probation for taking nude photographs of a 15-year-old girl. Republican racist pedophile and United States Senator Strom Thurmond had sex with a 15-year-old Black girl, which produced a child. Republican pastor Mike Hintz, whom George W. Bush commended during the 2004 presidential campaign, he surrendered to the police after admitting to a sexual affair with a juvenile child. There are so many church officials and pastors in this, all Republican. Republican legislator Peter Dibble pleaded no contest to having an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old child, a girl. Republican Congressman Donald Buzz Luckins was found guilty of having sex with a female minor and sentenced to 1 month in jail. Republican fundraiser Richard Del Guadio was found guilty of child porn charges and paying 2 teenage girls to pose for sexual photos for him. Republican of the Year Mark A. Griffin was convicted on 6 counts of sex crimes, all involving children. 6 counts. Republican State Senator Ralph Shortley from Oklahoma admitted to being involved in sodomy with a 17-year-old male prostitute and transporting child pornography. Republican activist Rendell Davey Anarchy pleaded guilty to attempted sexual assault on a child. GOP Congressman Dan Crane had sex with a page. To be fair, Democratic Congressman was Jerry Studs, who was also caught for the same thing. Both of them, when I give you the links to this, you'll be able to read the whole story, that there is a Democrat involved in that one. Republican Congressman Mark Foley abruptly resigned from Congress after sexually explicit emails surfaced showing him flirting with a child, a 16-year-old boy. Republican activist and Christian coalition leader Beverly Russell admitted to an incestuous relationship with his stepdaughter. Republican Congressman and, of course, anti-gay activist Robert Bowman was charged with having sex with a 16-year-old boy he picked up at a bar, but he's anti-gay. I'm sorry, projection was the word. That's what we're going with, right? Republican Committee Chairman Jeffrey Patty, he was arrested for distributing a video clip of a 5-year-old girl being raped. And notice they agreed his record could be expunged in 3 years. I'm sorry, you rape a 5-year-old or you have information or video of a 5-year-old being raped, why do you get to have your record expunged? Republican legislative aide Howard L. Brooks, he was charged with molesting a 12-year-old boy and possession of child pornography. Republican Senate candidate John Hathaway was accused of having sex with his 12-year-old babysitter and then withdrew his candidacy after the allegations were reported to the media. Republican preacher Stephen White, who demanded a return to traditional values, was sentenced to jail after offering $20 to a 14-year-old boy for permission to perform oral sex on the child. Republican talk show host John Matthews pleaded guilty to exposing his genitals to an 11-year-old girl. Republican anti-gay activist Earl Butch Kimmerling was sentenced to 40 years in prison for molesting an 8-year-old girl after he attempted to stop a gay couple from adopting her. Do you see what I'm saying? Republican Party leader Paul Ingram, everyone knows that name, pleaded guilty to 6 counts of raping his daughters and served 14 years in federal prison. Republican Election Board official Kevin Cohen was sentenced to 2 years probation for soliciting sex over the internet from a 14-year-old girl. I mean, there are so many. There are councilmen. Republican anti-abortionist activist John Allen Burt was charged with sexual misconduct involving a 15-year-old girl. Let's see some of the really good, not good, really horrible ones. A Republican mayoral candidate and pastor, Rambler, was accused of having sex with an underage boy and was convicted of soliciting explicit photos from a swingers group and using the pics to extort money. Republican City Councilman Fred C. Smeltzer Jr. pleaded no contest only to raping a 15-year-old girl. He served 6 months in prison. The amount that there are so many. I want to show you. Let's see. It is on here, actually. Come here. Now, this one. This is a little fun fact while we're on the topic. Under Greg Abbott in Texas, more sexual assaults in Texas have happened under Greg Abbott than anywhere else in the country. Just let that sink in. Now, what I was reading to you is just like a little tiny part of the 39th installment in the list of Republican sexual predators, abusers, and enablers who contribute to rape culture and what we're seeing about calling any member of the LGBT community groomers. These are people who have abused their power or defended others powerful around them when they abuse their power. These are not consensual. We're not talking about adults soliciting sex from other adults. I don't care about any of that stuff. We're talking about people trafficked against their will, children who are not able to make consent. This is as of November 27th, 2022, the 39th installment. Warren Jeffs, fundamentalist Mormon extremist, rape of many children, too horrific to account, sentenced to life in prison plus 20 years. This story is too awful. Michael Scott Langdon, Ferndale, Washington, police officer who was fired, tried to join Oath Keepers after an insurrection. He contacted woman he met as a witness on the job and asked her to bring her 12-year-old child for the two of them to have sex with. Republican Congress critter James Corner, Kentucky, accused by former girlfriend of domestic violence. Let's see. Nathan Larson, far right, white supremacist, libertarian advocate of pedophilia, arrested for grooming, arrested for kidnapping a 12-year-old girl, and then he died in federal custody. James Mason, white nationalist, created child sexual exploitation materials, and he raped minor girls. There just is so many. I want to say, as of the list, the 39th installment, 951 individual conservative sexual groomers, abusers, assaulters. I will, let's see, I want to copy this link so I can put this down here for you guys. That is the most recent, the 39th installment. However, with that link, you can go back to the very first installment and read all your heart's content. And I also want to, let's see. Yep, it's this one. I wanted to share the first one that I was reading as well, right here in the chat, because receipts and sources are very important. And that is that one right there. So also, I have to do Humanist Report. Humanist Report is a really great channel. You guys know I just absolutely love Humanist Report. He has, I'm going to share the actual episode with you guys. It's called An Actual Groomer. And it's damning. I won't read it all to you because you guys can read it yourself. You can watch the video of this woman who actually groomed young girls, sexually abused young girls, and now she is running for an elected seat talking about how Storybook Hour is grooming children, how all these books in the libraries are grooming children. She's a fucking actual groomer. So I do know that she has stepped down now that this has gotten out. However, I also heard that she has people around her who are saying stay in and fight. So I guess we'll find out more about that, because you guys, it is disturbing how many there are. There, to me, just finding out that they're, you know, Republican sexual predators, abusers, and enablers, part 32. Like I said, we're on part 39 now. Projection. Whenever you see someone talking about groomers and hurting children and child predators, and it's coming from, I hate to do blanket statements because I'm not even a Democrat. But as far as right now, with this far right MAGA situation going on, a lot of them are using projection. They see it, it's prevalent, it's what they know, so the other people must be doing it. And that is not true. I'm telling you, it's not true. I'm sure you guys have all heard that very sad but poignant and very factual quote. First they came for the gays. I wasn't gay. I didn't do anything. Then they came for the, you know, say what I goes through it, you know. Then they came for the Jews. I wasn't Jew. I didn't do anything. When they came for me, there was no one left to fight for me. The only way for injustice and evil and vileness to grow and become prevalent is for good people to do nothing. And you know, I can't put on armor and go out there and battle the sex offenders, as fun as that could be in my head. I'm not for violence. I want truth. I want truth. I want facts. I want these lists that I've now given you guys as tools. I want you to read them, to share them, to go through them and find the legislators and pastors and Congress people in your area and let people know that these people are doing the things that they're falsely accusing an entire community of people of doing, when in fact, here is the proof. Here are their mugshots. Here are one of them, not one of them, many of them, but that one raped so many children they couldn't even get into it. He is in pictures as of very recently at these donor parties. The Federalist Society, who I went in real hard on our last show, many of those members of the Federalist Society and their adjacent lobbyists, whatever, they are in these lists. These lists are paramount in us, the people on the side of ending that bullshit. This is a tool. This is something we can actually use. It's not going to shut down the people who are in the cult about it, but all the people who just don't know, they don't have time, they're just uninformed. This will change their mind. This will, because here's the person, here's what they did, and here's them accusing people without any evidence of doing those things. It's unacceptable. And as a humanist, I do feel like I had a couple topics that were, stoking my ire for this week, and just stop the violence. And the best cure for almost anything in any nation is education. An informed electorate would not elect people with these crimes on the record. An informed electorate would understand what came before and not want to learn those lessons again, and would instead choose progress. Education is the key. The more people who understand what is actually happening, to go after the least among us, the people with no power, is what they do. It's what fascism has always done. It's disgusting. And thank you, all my allies. I know there are straight people who are my allies. There are gay people who are my allies. There are trans people. There are grandparents. There are married, single, young, teenagers. All of you are allies. And all I can ask in those allies is that when you see injustice or someone making an accusation, whether it's they're holding a grooming event during the day with families, like no family's going to bring listen to that list. Those families will bring their kids or ask you to bring your kids for them to groom. That's not what's happening. So we need to firmly not just say no, but say, you're wrong, and here's how I know it. Here are the sources. Now give me yours on the claim you just made, because extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And I'm going to take a little breather and check out our amazing chat. Thank you so much, Smitty. We knew going into this way earlier, Smitty and I, that there might be one or two under the bridge tolls under the bridge tolls. It's not the kind of tolls there you should be getting. Trolls is what I meant. Yes, I agree. Smitty, you're awesome. Oh, what the Beck. Yes. And Jen and Doorknob Head, you always make me laugh. And of course, I see the most wonderfulest Riley. Everyone here, tell Riley that you love her and that she's the most amazing human you've never met. Thank you. And of course, I wouldn't be able to do this at all without my Lord and Savior, Nacho Witness, who has his own channel that you guys should check out. If you're not subbed, what are you doing with your life? He's funny and honest, talented and empathetic. Did I mention funny? Because he's funny. He's a funny guy. And I like his no fuss honesty. He just like, no, that's the way it is. It's I've never had to wonder what Nacha's thinking. Not that we've spent tons and tons of time where I could just look at him and know. It's not like that. He's just that type of person. And I'm blessed to have him here. I know Mac is too, because he tells me all the time. I don't think Mac is going to be able to make it tonight. I guess we'll know more when I get to talk to him. He was hoping to make it by 11, and it is 11, and I don't see him. Does anybody have any questions for me about any of this, or where you could find something? I will answer you right now. Oh, we have, who is Nacha and why hasn't he been playing games? Aw, Jen. Nacha does love to play games. No, Elo, I love you too. Okay, well, you guys are super informed. I hope you check out the list that I have shared, because I have you can also type in sexual predators, abusers, and enablers, but start that sentence with Republican. Republican sexual predators, abusers, and enablers, listing 905 such cases, from credible accusations to criminal convictions, each with receipts. The list is being compiled by, tells you all the information right there. I don't know if I can copy the link to this, and maybe, let's see, give you a little bit more homework to do. Ta-da! I pretty much only prepared lots of disgustingness for you guys tonight. I hope that I did it justice. I hope that, I mean, I could have just kept reading and reading. I did personally. I just could not believe some of the names. I thought, oh, that sounds familiar. So I would look them up and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're in power right now. And they're going on sound bites talking about LGBTQ community members or groomers. And here's this guy doing the grooming. I just, I had to. It's horrible. It's horrible. We need to stick up for each other. And I see Mac in the chat. Mac, do you want to say anything to anyone? And then I will wrap it up, Mr. Mac. Mac Daddy, Karate Mac. Just hi peeps. Hi peeps is good. Aw, yes, Beyond the Emerald Cove is good. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for spending your Friday night with me. And I guess it wasn't fun learning tonight, but it was paramount. It's, like I said, the only way for evil and injustice to endure is for good people to do and say nothing. And I can't know that there are these people in power who are doing the things they are accusing innocent people of, just so that they can deny the existence of those people. I live in a state where if I were a teacher, I couldn't have a picture of my wife and my girls on my desk, because don't say gay is a law here in 2022. That's where we're at. And I'm glad you guys could join me for this not so easy topic. I'm proud of you guys. I am. I hope you guys share it. And whenever you hear someone say something, even if it's just a news clip, go underneath it and link those lists. link the list to the actual groomers. That's what I want you to do. Every time you hear anyone, link the list, let them figure it out. We have to speak truth to power, and we have to get the people with power who do not deserve it out. And with that being said, I love you guys so much, so much, so much. And fucking stay humanist for godless sakes.